Welcome. Thank you for coming this evening to our virtual cooking class here at Willamette Valley Kitchen Company. We are located in Salem, Oregon, and I would guess most of you are as well, but if we have some people from out of town, welcome. Thanks for joining us as well. My name is Amy Church, if I haven't met you before, and I'm the owner of the store here and teach the cooking classes. And also tonight on chat, we have Jan Irene Miller, so she will be answering your questions if you use the chat feature. Throughout the class tonight, feel free, if you have any questions, just go ahead and type them into the chat and type chat to organizer. That works out best and goes directly to her. And that way she can notify me if there's a question, and I will repeat the question out loud for everyone and then do my best to give you a good answer. Let's see. Just a few reminders here as we're getting started. Most important, make sure you have your oven preheated to 400 because we're going to be putting our chicken in there fairly quickly. So if you haven't already done that, go ahead and turn your oven on to 400. You just want the racks somewhere in the middle. What else? I do have my cauliflower cut into florets, but if you don't have it cut into florets yet, don't worry, I'll give a little time to do that later on. And I do also have my beans drained. They're just back in the can, but I already drained and rinsed them. So if you want to go ahead and do that real quick, you can as well. All right, let's see. I always love to see your posts of what you have created and what you are eating for dinner tonight after class. So if you are a person who likes to do that, please definitely go ahead and snap a little photo of your dinner and you can post it on Facebook or Instagram. I would love for the store to be tagged so that I can definitely see all of your dinners. So go ahead and tag us on Facebook. We are Willamette Valley Kitchen Co. On Instagram, we are Salem Cooks. And I would love to see that. Amy. Oh yes, we have a question already.
How small should the florets be?
Oh, they should be kind of medium. Let's see. There is it in comparison to my hand. So about 1.5 to 2 inch florets. Someone asked how small the cauliflower florets should be. So just medium-sized florets. All right, I think we are going to go ahead and get started with our cooking here. We are making a delicious chicken recipe. After my summer classes, I did a lot of seafood during the summer, and I had a lot of requests for, please do some chicken and pork dishes. So we have a delicious chicken dish tonight. It is all cooked in one pan, so easy to prepare, easy to clean up. It's a very lemony roast chicken thighs, and it's going to have some cauliflower and some white beans along with that. It kind of creates its own sauce. It's really nice and healthy and delicious and refreshing, kind of like healthy comfort food, I would describe this dish. Very tasty. And then to go along with that, really this chicken dish could kind of just be its own meal. You don't have to have a salad with it, but at my house, we always like to have some extra vegetables. So to go along with it, we just have a really bright, fresh Greek horiatiki salad, which is the big, chunky, kind of tangy Greek salad with feta and olives. So that's what our menu is this evening. Just a reminder as we get started here, don't worry, don't get stressed out while you're cooking. I do tend to chop things up pretty quickly and cook things quickly, but I will definitely be pausing to explain so you can carry on with your chopping and just follow along with me the best you can. Don't let yourself get stressed out. We're just having a nice meal tonight together and no need to be worried. Let's see, I hope you all have a lot of fun. I'm very excited to cook with you and let's get started. We are just going to start kind of right at the top here and just progress down through our recipe, through both recipes really. So we're going to start out and make a little flavorful rub for our chicken. As I mentioned, I am making a double batch. So I actually ended up getting 10 chicken thighs instead of 12 because it was a package of 10. So I personally here have 10 chicken thighs. And we want to prepare a delicious, flavorful, lemon-flavored rub, and we're going to rub it underneath the skin of the chicken thighs. I did have one student who had mistakenly bought boneless, skinless chicken thighs rather than bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. If by any chance that is your situation as well, don't worry. You'll just make this paste and just rub it along the outsides of your boneless, skinless chicken thighs. They'll probably take a little bit less time to cook, would be the only difference, and you might need to add a little more oil to your pan, but otherwise they both will work just fine. So I'm going to start out with this rub is basically just oil, lemon zest, herbs, and salt. I'm just going to go ahead and get my lemon zested. I have already rubbed half of my chicken so that I don't have to delay the process here doing twice as much on camera. I am using a microplane zester. Maybe I can do a little bit of a close-up here. If you don't have a microplane zester, it's honestly one of my favorite kitchen tools. I would describe it as a must-have. And I hold the microplane, maybe some people would describe it as upside down when I am zesting citrus fruits. And that way the little trough actually catches all the zest for you and it doesn't end up flying everywhere. I also find it easier to kind of move the zester and hold the lemon steady. So that's my technique for zesting citrus fruits with one of these. You want to make sure whenever you're zesting citrus fruits that you're only getting the colored part and you're not digging down underneath the colored part of the rind into the white part, which is the pith, because the pith is very bitter flavored. It doesn't taste so good. So just stick with the colored part of the rind. That is where all of the delicious essential oils are. To this, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Like so. And then I have some herbs de Provence. So this is a dried herb blend. It's a kind of a classic French herb blend. Every company makes their blend a little bit differently, but it usually consists of thyme and rosemary and oregano, usually tarragon. Sometimes it has savory, sometimes it has chervil or marjoram. It can be a lot of different things. And then often it has a little bit of lavender as well, which makes it kind of unique. Not everybody adds lavender to their blend, but you'll often see that. And I like just kind of like a nice big heaping teaspoon of this. This blend that I am using, I do sell here at the store. It looks like that if you come in. It's Spiceology brand. They're a company out of Spokane, Washington, so fairly local company. So if you're looking for herbs de Provence and you're here in Salem, we do have that available. If you have a different dried spice blend that you like to use, you can absolutely switch that out in this recipe. It does not have to be herbs de Provence. I'm also going to add a little bit of salt to this. So you want about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in there. All right, that's all we need for this lemony herby paste. So just stir that up a little bit. And we're gonna go ahead, like I mentioned, and rub that under the skin of our chicken. So just take your chicken thighs here. I have them stacked too high and the ones underneath I've already rubbed. So I'm just doing the 5 that are on top here. And I'm just gonna grab a little bit, maybe like a teaspoon approximately. You don't need to measure it, but just grab a little scoop of it in your fingers and rub that underneath the skin. So that's gonna really flavor the chicken meat. And then whatever excess you have kind of on your hand, rub on the back side of the chicken thigh. So rub it into the meat. So just go ahead and do that with each of your chicken thighs. I don't put a lot of the rub on top of the skin because we're going to be really browning that part of the chicken. And I don't want the herbs to get kind of a burnt flavor. So that's why I focus on underneath the skin and then on the bottom side of the chicken. All right. Hopefully you're all having a lovely day out there today. I had a really good day at work today. Those of you who are kind of familiar with the store may know that ever since these strange times started here with COVID back in March, I've been running the store pretty short-staffed and kind of shorter hours. But today I had 2 new employees start. So that was just so lovely and just really a lot of fun for all of us to kind of have a few more people around to interact with, and we were just laughing a lot today, so it was really, really nice. I had a great day. I hope you all did too. All right, I have my chicken thighs rubbed with the lemon herb paste, and I'm gonna go ahead and rinse my hands off. I will say though, if you have your little bowl or measuring cup that you were using for your herb paste, you really don't need to wash it. You can use it again later on in the recipe. And all that residue that's in there is just gonna add more flavor to the recipe. So I would just set that measuring cup aside and don't even worry about washing it. Just set it aside. Okay, if you are just finishing up rubbing your chicken thighs, the next thing we want to do is just get our pans heated up, or in your case, if you're just doing a single batch, just one pan. So I'm going to turn my pans on over here. You want your pans kind of on medium to medium high, depending on how hot your burners are. We want them to be hot enough that the chicken is going to get a nice brown color on the skin. All right. I am using, I don't know if you can see in that much detail here on the camera, but I'm using one cast iron pan here, which is my preference for this recipe. I just think it turns out really nicely in cast iron. But I only have one cast iron pan at the store of that size. So then my second pan is a really heavy nonstick pan, which will also work great as well. But whatever you're choosing, you just want to choose a nice heavy pan and a pan that is safe to go in the oven. All right, we will just let those pans heat up for a minute, and then I'm going to add a little bit more oil into the pans, but you don't need very much. As long as you have your skin on chicken thighs, the chicken will render out some fat, so you only need a little bit of fat just to prevent things from sticking. If you are by any chance using boneless, skinless chicken thighs at this point, you might want to add a little more than the 2 teaspoons of oil, just because there won't be any fat rendering out and you don't want them to stick. Just gonna give my cutting board a little wipe here. I didn't have any raw chicken actually touching this, but just gonna wipe off any debris. Yeah.
I think we need 2 pans for 6.
Someone just asked a question, do you think you need 2 pans for 6? It really depends if your pan is like, is it 9 inches or is it 11 inches? It just depends what your particular size pan is. You definitely don't want them overlapping. So if your pan will hold all of them in one layer, that's what you're looking for. If not, you might want to go with 2 pans. All right, this would be a good time while your pans are heating up. If you have not already done so, just go ahead and get started cutting up your cauliflower. Again, the recipe calls for a small head of cauliflower. You basically want enough to fit perfectly in one layer in the bottom of the pan. So I have a really, really big head of cauliflower here, and I'm going to divide it between the 2 pans. I'm going to see how my pans feel. If you're at home, just focus on getting your cauliflower ready and checking on your pans. They're getting warm. Once you feel like your pans are hot, you can add the little bit of oil in there and let that heat up. It's always better to let your pans heat up a little bit first before you put the oil in. There's something interesting, like science-wise, that happens when you heat up your pan without oil and then add the oil versus the other way. And it turns out better if you do it this way. Preheat your pan, then add the oil. And you can see I'm just putting just a little bit in there. Gonna give those a little swirl just to get the bottoms coated with my olive oil. Okay, so I have my chicken. It is rubbed with the lemon herb paste, and there was a small amount of salt in the paste, and that was going directly onto the meat to season it nicely. I do like to sprinkle lightly a little bit more salt on the skins only before I put them down into the pan. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. You don't need a whole bunch because you already have some salt. Just a light sprinkle just to make your chicken skin nice and delicious. And I'm going to go ahead and start adding chicken to these 2 pans. Skin side down here, folks. The skin is the only side we're really worried about browning in this recipe. I don't know if you can see in that camera, but hopefully so. When I add my chicken in there, I give the chicken a little jiggle almost immediately once I put it in there. And that really helps it to not stick, actually. If you just move it around lightly right when you put it in, that goes a long ways to prevent any kind of sticking. All right, our chicken is in there and sizzling away. Hopefully you can still hear me okay. And I like to cook this chicken. It seems like it usually takes about 4 minutes, but what you're looking for is the skin to be nice and golden brown. I'm gonna grab a timer. Just so I don't lose track of what I'm doing here. This timer is not good. There we go. Okay. Is it going? There's going. So I got my timer set for 4 minutes. And I'll just keep an eye on those. If you hear them sound like they're sizzling way too much, you might want to just regulate your temperature down a little bit and vice versa. You just want them at a nice, gentle sizzle. You can go ahead and, I don't know what you were using to have your chicken resting in, but you don't really need to watch this yet because we are going to have to pull the chicken out when it's still only halfway cooked and just let it sit here for a few minutes while we do the cauliflower. So no need to wash your chicken pan quite yet until we've done that stuff. Let's see. So make sure your cauliflower is ready. If your cauliflower is ready, we can progress on to making the ingredients for our kind of lemony broth that is going to reduce down into a sauce. So very simple. All we need here is a little bit more lemon zest plus some lemon juice and then some low sodium chicken broth. Excuse me. There we go. So as I mentioned, if you were measuring your lemon paste out in some sort of cup or bowl, you can just go ahead and use that same cup to make this broth mixture. Today I am using low sodium chicken broth like this. Those of you who follow along with my classes know that I usually use chicken better than bouillon, and that's what's been my go-to for a couple of years now. However, weirdly, I am on a diet right now. Not a diet, really more of a different way of eating, which is Whole30. Some of you may be familiar with that. And with Whole30, you can't have a couple of the ingredients that are in chicken better than bouillon. So don't mind me. If you're using chicken better than bouillon, that is perfectly great. That's what I would normally use. But because I am doing Whole30 right now, weird, I'm using this chicken broth instead. I've never been a diet person. Those of you who come to my classes probably have intuited that. But Erin and I just thought we'd give it a try. What the heck? Do something new. So we are trying this. We started about a week ago. So I'll let you know what I think, what my results are. If you've ever done the Whole30, it's really more of a, you just change how you eat for a month and then see how you feel, really. It's kind of a way to see how certain foods affect you that you may not have realized. Let's see. So I'm doing a double batch, so I just poured out a cup of the chicken broth. If you're just doing a single, you just need a half a cup. And then I am going to zest a little bit more lemon. You need 3 lemons total for this recipe. You need the zest of 3 and then the juice of 2. So we've already zested 2 of our lemons for our paste. Now I'm going to zest 1 more lemon and put it in here. I'm actually going to zest 2 lemons because I'm doing a double batch, but I don't want to confuse anybody. You only need zest of 1 lemon. These lemons I'm using today seem very, very fragrant. So that's nice. Okay, I hear my timer going off. That means it is time for us to peek at our chicken and make sure that the skin is nice and golden brown. If the skin is nice and golden brown, you can move your chicken back over to this spot you have for resting, a plate or a dish like this, whatever. So I'm just giving a little look. Okay, can you see that in the camera? This isn't quite as golden brown as I want it yet. It's getting close, but it's not quite there. So I'm just going to leave it in for another minute. The cast iron one might be a little further along. Let's see. Oh, actually, they're about the same. Yeah. Okay. So I have, after 4 minutes, I have almost but not quite chicken. So we're going to just leave it in there for a minute or so more while we finish up this broth mixture. All right. I put in my chicken broth and my lemon zest, and now I'm going to go with the juice in addition. You want zest and juice for this. The zest is what provides the lemony flavor, and then the juice provides acid. which is really nice. Kind of balances out with the fattiness of the chicken thighs. And if you're just doing a single batch, you just need the juice of 2 of your lemons. Again, I'm doing a double, so I'm going to be juicing 4 here really quickly. Hopefully all this juice will fit in my container. Didn't even think about that. I think it will. So squeeze your lemons into there. Watch out for seeds. I'm using this juicer that catches the seeds, but you definitely want to make sure you're not getting a bunch of seeds into this mixture. These are juicy lemons. These are really nice lemons. I'm impressed. As soon as I get done juicing these, I'm gonna look at my chicken again, and I bet it will be ready to go. Okay, so I have a big full container of liquid here, but it's about 2 cups. So if you're doing a single batch, you should have about 1 cup of liquid, maybe a little bit less. Let's get our chicken, oh, I'm making such a mess here. Let's get our chicken flipped over and transferred to its plate to rest. Okay, I don't know if you can see that chicken very well, hopefully so, but it looks nice and the skin is golden brown. It's starting to look crispy. The fat has rendered. So that's what you're looking for there. If that's what your chicken looks like, go ahead and move it into your plate or your dish. Ooh. Be careful, you may have some fat popping up here on you. All right. You should have a good amount of fat rendered out into the pans. If you have a huge amount, which I kind of do right now, you might want to pour out a little bit of it. We are going to go ahead and cook our cauliflower next in that fat, so you do want some, but if you have a really thick amount in your pan, go ahead and pour a little bit of it out. I am going to pour a little bit of fat out of my pan. These must have been nice fat chickens. Because I don't normally, I've made this many times and I don't normally pour fat out, but I think I'm going to tonight. Ooh, that's if you see some good if you see some nice good brown bits in your pan, that is exactly what you want, what you're looking for. So don't get rid of those. I probably poured off, wow, I probably poured off a 1/4 cup of fat out of the 2 pans, and there's still plenty in there. So again, I guess these were just fatty chicken thighs. All right, so your pans are still going here. They should still be sizzling, and you can go ahead and add your cauliflower in. And again, you just want to lay it in there, and you want it to be in a single layer in the bottom of the pan.
Here's a question, Amy.
Yeah.
If you trim any skin off of your chicken, I took off enough to be even with the meat.
Yes, okay, so we had a question about trimming the chicken in advance and whether you need to trim extra skin off your chicken thighs before you cook them. And yes, the answer is I do trim my chicken thighs depending on what brand I get, because some brands leave a whole bunch hanging off the edge, like a lot, and other brands are more nicely trimmed and you don't really need to trim them. So This chicken that has created so much fat here, I actually, believe it or not, did trim it very well and still got this much chicken fat. The brand that I usually buy, which they were out of, is the Bear chicken. And that usually doesn't need to be trimmed as much, which is why I like it. All right, see what's so you can see here I have a nice layer, but just a single layer of cauliflower in my pan. I am going to set that timer again for 4 minutes and brown the cauliflower. I feel like my cast iron pan is, just as cast iron does, it has risen up to heat a little slowly, but now it's very hot. So I'm turning it down a little bit, whereas I'm keeping this one just at its same temperature. You can give your cauliflower a little shake if you want, but you don't want to stir it. You just want to get just on the one side a nice, even golden brown layer on your cauliflower. All right. So hopefully you have your soft liquid here ready to go. I am just cleaning up this big mess I made when I picked up the sauce. Messy tonight. I just drank a huge jar of iced tea, so I'm probably twitching. But I have that liquid all ready to go. And then the only other thing you need to get ready for your chicken is some beans. I like cannellini beans in this, although you really could use any beans that you like. I use canned beans just because this is one of our nice quick cooking recipes, but if you prefer to cook your beans from dry, of course you could definitely go ahead and do that. Just make sure you have them cooked and ready to go when you're ready to make this recipe. So these are just rinsed and drained 1 can of cannellini beans. I am going to cook one of these with beans and one without here in the store, and that is because beans are another thing that you cannot eat on Whole30. So Erin and I will just be eating chicken and cauliflower, and Jan, Irene, and Jim will be eating chicken, cauliflower, and beans. I think it will be delicious either way. As soon as we have our timer go off for the cauliflower, basically what we're going to do is add everything else into these pans, and that would be the beans and your liquid, and just give it a little stir, and then we're going to place the chicken skin side up on top of that mixture and transfer it to the oven. So we'll be doing that here in just a moment. Again, I know it's tempting to stir your cauliflower, but don't stir your cauliflower. I even feel myself like wanting to stir it. Don't stir it, you just want a nice brown layer on one side. We have 1 minute left for our cauliflower. And I didn't put any salt on the cauliflower, but that's because we have some saltiness in this broth liquid, and the cauliflower is going to cook in that, so it will be nicely seasoned once it's all cooked. As soon as we get these in the oven, we will start on our salad, but it's a very quick salad. It's a big chunky salad, so it doesn't take very long to chop up the ingredients for it. And the dressing is extremely simple. So this salad can come together just in the amount of time that your chicken is in the oven. This timer is about to go off, and we have everything ready to go here. There it goes. Okay, now if you like to, you can give your cauliflower a little stir. And you should see beautiful golden brown on one side cauliflower. It has cooked in that chicken fat and gotten nice and golden brown and crispy on one side. Really lovely. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add beans to one pan. You just add beans to your pan. And then if you're just doing a single batch, just pour in all of your liquid. I'm gonna divide this between the two. And you can give this a little stir at this point. Just to kind of get everything mixed up and combined. The level of liquid, oh, you can also turn the burners off at this point. The level of liquid should not be coming up over the cauliflower. That way the cauliflower kind of acts as a little cooking rack for your chicken, actually. So it keeps it up out of the liquid so it can roast. Okay, now you can go ahead. I have my chicken sitting here. It is browned on one side, but other than that, still pretty much raw. And just arrange your chicken back up on top of your cauliflower and bean mixture. Like so. This is looking and smelling really good already. If you have a little bit of juices on your plate, mine looks mostly like a little bit of fat, so I'm not even going to worry about it. But if you have any good looking juices on your plate, you could go ahead and throw them into the pan as well. Get a little cleaned up here. There we go. All right, we're going to transfer these two pans right into the oven. Sorry, my oven is off camera, so I'll just be moving out of view here as I transfer these.
So a couple questions, Amy.
Yes.
One about salt.
Okay.
Any salt?
Any salt?
Yeah.
Any particular salt?
She said no salt.
Well, we put salt on. Okay, I'll be right there. I just put the chicken in the oven. I find that it really depends on the size of your chicken thighs, but I've been finding it takes 12-ish minutes, 12 to 15. And it depends if you're a person who likes your chicken really, really, really thoroughly cooked or cooked just to the temperature that they recommend, which is 165. So I'll kind of leave that up to you, but it's going to be around 12 to 15 minutes. We had a question about salt and is it just whether you should put salt on the chicken? I'm not really sure what the question was exactly, but just as a reminder, we did have salt in the lemon rub, and then we also sprinkled a little more salt on the chicken skin. And then there is also some salt in the broth. So it ends up being just right, at least for my taste. Hopefully you all enjoy that as well. If your question about salt was something different than that I didn't answer, please feel free to add that into the chat one more time, and I'm happy to help.
She just typed in no salt. Sounds good and smells good.
Okay.
Another question, Amy.
Yes.
I'm using cauliflower tonight because my mom and I love it, but my husband does not. Any good veggies to substitute instead for when I make it in the future?
Okay, so we have a question about a substitution for cauliflower. So let me think here for just a second. It needs to be a vegetable that is firm enough to stand up to being roasted for a little while. So you couldn't just put just any vegetable in. For example, a zucchini would get too mushy. But I think some good options, I mean, if your husband is just like a meat and potatoes guy, this question was particularly about this lady's husband who doesn't care for cauliflower. If he is a meat and potatoes guy, you could put in like some onions and some baby potatoes. I would have them. You could also put in I really like turnips, but that's like another weird vegetable. So I'm not sure if he would like that, but I think turnips would be super good in here, just peeled and maybe quartered.
How about carrots?
Carrots would be wonderful, yes.
How about squash?
Winter squash would be great, with the exception that you would just want to make sure it was able to be cooked in that amount of time. So maybe cut it up nice and small so that it would get done in that amount of time.
How about broccoli?
I think broccoli would get overcooked. Any other ideas? Yes. Okay. Good, good, good. All right. Our chicken is in the oven, and we are going to proceed on to our salad now. I do hear someone off mute. If you are out there and you happen to notice that you're not muted, do you mind just going ahead and muting yourself? I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. So a Greek horiatiki salad. It's funny, I put out this class and then like 3 days later, this is always happening to me. I saw an article, I think it popped up on my Facebook, about, who was it? Maybe Cook's Country, like the country version of Cooks Illustrated. Do you mind getting her video off of there? Oh, there we go. Thank you. And they were like, posted an article about horiatiki salad, which I just thought that was a coincidence. It might just be that, you know, I did a search about it or something, and so it popped up on my Facebook. I don't know if that's all it was. But I love the salad. I've loved the salad ever since I was a little girl. My family used to go to Alexis restaurant in downtown Portland on Burnside, which is no longer there. But I used to order this salad there. I would get my spanakopita and my horiatiki salad, and it was my favorite thing ever. I actually had my sweet 16 birthday party at that restaurant. Thanks, Mom and Dad. But I love this salad, and I feel like some places don't really do a great job of it. They tend to kind of Americanize it and make it into a lettuce salad, and it's not meant to be a lettuce salad. It is just meant to be a big, chunky vegetable salad. So let's go ahead and get started with our salad. We have tomatoes. I have the recipe written with Roma tomatoes because I want everyone to just be able to get these ingredients at the grocery store. But if you have garden tomatoes and they didn't get all covered in ash, hopefully not, definitely use your garden tomatoes. They would be delicious. You don't have to use Roma tomatoes. So I am going to chop everything in the salad into like 3/4 inch to 1 inch pieces. So nice big bite-sized chunks. I am just starting out here with my Roma tomatoes and just trimming off the ends. And I generally cut these into quarters lengthwise, like, you know, they're cut like that into those type of quarters, wedges. And then I flip them on their sides, and depending on how big they are, I cut them into 2 or 3 pieces. So you can see it goes fairly quickly because you're not chopping things up very finely. It's just nice chunky vegetables.
Amy, would you like me to shut this camera on?
Oh yeah, actually that would be great.
I think you just.
Yeah, Jen Irene just mentioned we can shut off the stove camera now. And she's going to go ahead and do that. So then you'll be able to see me even bigger here cutting up the salad.
Do dismiss Amy or stop webcam sharing?
I think stop webcam sharing will do it.
There you go. You're big as life.
Hey, look at me. All right. So here we are with our chopped tomatoes. Some recipes that you see will tell you to take out the like juicy seed part out of your tomatoes before you put them into your salad. And sometimes I do like to do that, especially if I'm making a special dressing that I want to make sure it doesn't get watered down. But for this salad, I definitely do not. I just like it with all the seeds and juices in there. And I almost think that tomato juices like become part of the dressing in this salad. So I have my 4 tomatoes chopped up. Again, you can maybe see the size here, nice big chunks. And everything we're going to chop is going to be that same size. I have an English cucumber. No need to peel it unless you really, really don't care for the peel, but English cucumber peels are nice and thin. I'm going to do the exact same thing as I did with the tomato. I'm going to quarter it lengthwise again. And then I'm just going to chop it into big chunks. Okay. So same type of thing here, nice big chunks of cucumber. Of course, because we're doing this as a 1-hour class, you will most likely be eating this salad pretty much immediately. But I did want to mention that actually my ultimate amount of time to make this salad is about 2 hours before dinner time, because I think that that's just the perfect amount of time for the dressing to kind of soak into the vegetables and start to just, it's almost like it pickles the vegetables just the tiniest amount. And I think that is when it's at its ultimate most delicious. But I didn't want to tell you guys, hey, you have to make a salad by yourselves 2 hours ahead of this class, because that's ridiculous. So maybe save a little bit and try it in a few hours later and you'll see what I mean. Here's my bell pepper. I like a yellow bell pepper because I like the salad to look like a rainbow. And so we have red tomatoes and green cucumber, yellow bell pepper, and purple. Well, really, it's red onion, but it's purple. So that's the reason I use a yellow bell pepper, or you could get an orange one. I think more typically you see green bell peppers in this, but I think the yellow one is prettier. And I'm just going to take this, I have it standing straight up, and I'm just going to cut right next to the stem, straight down towards the bottom of the pepper. And that kind of takes the core out for me, like so. So you can discard the core. And then you'll end up with these kind of big slabs of pepper. This is a really nice piece. It doesn't have any of that white vein part in the middle, so we'll set that aside. But you do want to just take your knife and remove those white parts with the seeds just quickly. You might want to use a paring knife. I'm using my big giant chef's knife here, but at home it might be a little easier for you with a paring knife to get those out. So I'm just removing all those white parts along with the seeds. Okay, my chicken is already beeping at me, if you can believe it, but I did only set it for 10 minutes because I just wanted to take a peek at it. So I'm going to go ahead and take a peek, but it's probably not done quite yet. I'm going to go look at it. I'll be right back. All right, here I am. I set the chicken for 5 more minutes. What it's looking like in there after 10 minutes is it looks nice and hot, and the sauce ingredients are just like starting to bubble. And when it's done, you want those to be nice and bubbly, and we'll take the temperature of our chicken just to be on the safe side in about 5 minutes when I think it will be done. Okay, I was cutting up bell peppers. I've got them all cleaned of their interior white part, and I'm just going to cut them into, again, 3/4 inch to 1 inch thick slices, and then turn them and cut them into chunks. All right, and our final vegetable is red onion. And depending on how much you enjoy onion, I feel like everyone in my family enjoys onion quite a lot. So we're gonna not be afraid, and we're just gonna put a bunch of onion in this salad. If you do not like onion quite as much, or it tastes really strong to you, you have a couple options. You could cut it up smaller. You could put in less. Either of those things would be very simple, obviously. You can also always take your onion after it's chopped up and soak it in some cold water for just a few minutes, like 10 minutes. And that also really helps to kind of lessen the hotness of your onion. If it's a really hot, strong onion, that helps it to be more mild. So I just have my half of a red onion here, all peeled and ready to chop. And so, like I said, my family, oh, I think I need to peel it one more time here. Oh, there we go. My family loves onion, and so I'm just going to cut this in great big chunks, just like the rest of my salad. But you can adjust that as you like. I am just going around the onion, but not cutting through the root right now. And then turning it once and chopping it the other direction. If your onion is stuck together in great big chunks, like it might be like there's a big stack of onion pieces, I kind of take those with my fingertips and just separate them apart into smaller pieces. So you're just getting a reasonable bite of onion when you eat your salad rather than an absolutely humongous bite of onion. All right. Oh, this smells like a hot onion. I am getting a big whiff of it, and it's almost making me cry, which almost never happens to me with onion. So this is going to be a spicy one for us here tonight, I think. We'll see. We'll see later on when we're eating this. Okay. That is all of our vegetables. There's my spoon. Oh, I was going to use this. The other two main ingredients of this salad are going to be olives and cheese. But you can see even right now, it's looking really pretty, like a nice rainbow colored salad. You can throw your olives in, as many as you like. I had just kind of a guesstimate. I like a lot of olives, so I said a half a cup, but you don't have to use that many. You can use as many as you like. And I do like them cut in half, just so they're more even throughout the salad. And then for cheese, you know, the traditional way this salad is served is actually to leave the cheese kind of, the beautiful feta cheese kind of whole in a big slab. That's how it would be served most likely in Greece. But here the feta is usually kind of crumbled up so it intersperses more with the rest of the salad. So that's what I would normally do. However, again, you cannot eat dairy on Whole30. So for my salad here tonight, I'm going to leave the cheese on the side and just serve it on the side to those of us who are enjoying cheese, which I am looking forward to be doing next month. Cheese is something I really, really miss. I'm just cutting my olives in half. Oh, I wanted to mention, I purchased these particular Kalamata olives. You see that? Yeah, at Trader Joe's. And what they say on them is Trader Joe's organic pitted Kalamata olives in brine with extra virgin olive oil. And they are really good. They have two different types of Kalamatas there. And I had never tried these particular ones, and they're really, really yummy. So I definitely recommend that. I heard my oven beep. That means the chicken has been in there for 15 minutes. So I'm just going to finish cutting up these last few olives, and then I'm going to go over there. And this time I'm actually going to take its temperature. You want to take the temperature of your chicken right into the middle part of the chicken, but the meaty part. You don't want to hit the bone. And for food safety, you need your chicken thighs minimum of 165. One reason I really like using chicken thighs is that they are, what's the word I'm looking for here? They don't dry out instantly. So chicken thighs can range from like 165 to 180-ish and still be nice and juicy. So if you take the temperature of your chicken thighs and are like, oh no, they're at 172, they're still going to be totally delicious. So don't worry about that.
So there's a question about cheese. Is the sheep version more delicate than the goat version? Seems like it doesn't stand up as well.
Yeah. I do believe the sheep is, to my taste, it's more delicate. It's different. First of all, it tastes definitely a lot different. And I feel like it's less acidic. And I really like it. So that's just me personally. Some people might prefer the other one instead, but we're just talking about feta here. And I recommended I gotta get my chicken out here. I'll come back to cheese in just a second. Let me go get my chicken. Okay. I pulled these chickens out because I'm fairly certain they're going to be done, but you could also just take the temperature with them still in the oven. So I just have my little instant read thermometer here, and I'm going to take the temperature of a couple of these and see where we're at. And it is going up. These ones in the cast iron skillet are like right at 165 actually. That one was at 165. Different sizes of chicken thighs will give you different readings. That's just the nature of that. So maybe check a couple different ones. But these are all reading for me just like nicely cooked actually after 15 minutes. See, this little one on this side is a little bit, it's at like 170 just because it was a smaller one. I'm gonna grab this other pan. When you took your pan out of the oven.
So we shut that camera off, so.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna hold it up in just a second. I just wanted to make sure they were cooked before I turned the ovens off. Oh, see, this is interesting, and it shows you the difference between cooking with two different pans. And that is that my non-cast iron skillet, the chicken is not quite as done. Yeah, I'm just testing all of these just to make sure. But I might have been getting a strange reading on that one. I think I got a strange reading. I think these are done. Never mind. But definitely the pan material does make a difference, and it might cause them to cook a little differently. I feel like all of my chicken is done. I got 165 on all of them. I'm gonna show what this chicken looks like here. Hopefully you can see that. So you should have nice golden brown chicken. You should have nice tender cauliflower and a nice kind of brothy sauce in there. The sauce, hopefully when you pulled it out of the oven, was bubbling away. Now it's kind of stopped bubbling as it's been out here for a few minutes, but that's basically what you're looking for with that. It looks and smells delicious, and I am very excited to eat that. We'll just set it aside for just a second and let it rest while we finish up our salad. And it is always a good idea with any kind of meat cooking. I took the temperature of these chickens and they all seem to be safely done to me. But as they sit here for a couple minutes, the temperature will probably rise a little bit more. With small pieces of meat like this, it only rises maybe a few degrees versus a big roast. When you're cooking a prime rib, you take it out, you know, way ahead of time because you know it's going to rise 10 degrees. This isn't going to rise that much, but it will a little bit.
So one question. So my biggest is 162, and I'm getting a tiny trickle out of the side of totally red blood. Should I pop him back in here by himself for another minute?
Yeah, if you have one really big piece of chicken that isn't done and all the rest of them are, you could throw it back in by itself for a few more minutes. You could, I hate to say this because it sounds funny, but honestly, you could throw it in the microwave just by itself, just for like I don't know, 45 seconds or a minute just to get it even with the other ones. But I would definitely do that because you don't want it to be undercooked for chicken. All right, let's finish up our salad real quick here. I added in olives, and we just need to, at home, put in your cheese. We were talking about feta. You can get sheep's milk feta or goat's milk feta, or I think you can actually, there is probably, is there cow's milk feta? I don't know actually. But I really like the one that is from Israel at Trader Joe's. That's my very, very favorite. I wasn't able to get it for this class, so I have this package of Valparaiso, which is also a sheep's milk one. But whatever is your favorite feta, go ahead and use that. We are going to dress this salad. And it is not even a dressing that you mix together ahead of time. You just pour it right onto the salad. So let me grab the measuring spoons here. All it is extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to pour that on. I use about a tablespoon. Honestly, when I'm making this at home, I do not measure it. I just drizzle olive oil on it and then drizzle red wine vinegar on it until I think it looks good. But I measured what I did, and it seemed to be approximately 1 tablespoon of oil and 2 tablespoons of vinegar. So here is my red wine vinegar, about twice as much. You do want this to be a nice tangy salad. And then you want either dried oregano, or what I use is the seasoning in the Mexican aisle that is called menudo seasoning. Those of you who come to my classes know I use that all the time. I put it onto a jar, but it comes in a little pouch. So there's what the label looks like when you buy the little pouch. And I'm just going to put about a teaspoon of this. The main ingredient in this seasoning is oregano. So I think it tastes great in this salad, and I already have it at my house. It does have some chili flake in it though, so it makes you a little spicy Greek salad rather than just regular. And then you just want to season this with salt and pepper. And you can do that to your taste. Maybe start out with a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, stir it in, give it a little taste and see what you think. I like fresh ground black pepper on this.
Mary says, we made it, we loved it, thank you very much.
Yay. Hopefully everyone is getting close to being ready to eat here. I'm just tossing those salad ingredients together. This doesn't have the white cheese in there, but you can see that it's just a big, chunky, delicious, healthy vegetable salad. Go ahead and give that a stir, and then stir it again and taste it right before you're going to serve it. And it may need a little more salt. It may need a little more vinegar to you. Just taste it so that adjust it so that it tastes right to you. And we have our chicken all ready to go. I like to serve this if you have them in the shallow pasta bowls, because then you can serve people the kind of brothy sauce and give them a big spoonful of that they can eat with their cauliflower and beans. Let's see. Do I have anything else to say about these recipes? I don't think so. I really hope that you all are just about ready to enjoy your dinner here tonight. Thank you all for attending. Again, I will send you the link to the video if you want to watch it again later or review something. Again, don't forget, take a picture, post it on Facebook or Instagram and tag us, and we would love to see your dinner. And if you had a great time tonight here with us, please tell your friends, and there are still 3 more classes in September and October to enjoy. The next one is coming up just next week. It is Szechuan cumin lamb stir fry, one of my very favorite dishes. So it's super flavorful, super fun. It uses Szechuan peppercorns, they have a mild numbing sensation, so your mouth kind of tingles when you eat the stir fry. It's really, really fun. Great experience. So thank you all for coming. I hope you have a lovely evening and enjoy your dinner. Thanks for cooking with me.